You picked up the James Carville endorsement. I'm going to read some of what he said. He said Senator Bennett is the opposite of Trump and is the best Democrat to take him on. And Senator Bennett would be the best president of the United States, which is why I endorsed his campaign. Michael Bennett will surprise people. And it will take a big surprise for you to move up. I mean, here's Cory Booker dropping out today, and he's polling ahead of you in the polls. What does James Carville know, and what do you know that we can't see?
Well, I'm seeing real movement in New Hampshire and some momentum in New Hampshire. And I think one of the things James Carville saw was my going out and doing 50 town halls after I'd already done 33 town halls, just trying to dig it out in New Hampshire. And I'm flattered that he would say that I am the opposite of Donald Trump. I see it that way myself. If we think we need somebody kind of like Trump to beat Trump, I'm obviously not the candidate. But if we think we need somebody...
Wait, just a second. The Democrats don't have a candidate who's like Trump, do they? I mean, are you all the opposite of Trump?
Well, I think that we certainly can't out-Trump.
Right.
I guess it's the point that I would make. And if we were looking for somebody out of 330 million Americans who's the opposite, I think I fit that bill. So I'm proud to have James's endorsement. As you know, he led a campaign that actually knocked off the last sitting Republican president, and that's what we have to do again. So I think we are going to surprise some people. And we'd love to have the help. Anybody who wants to come knock doors in New Hampshire will be there.
Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on the button below for more from The Last Word and the rest of MSNBC.